from reading Hebrews 13 through 16. All those people who were still living by their faith when they died, they didn't receive the things God had promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a long way off. They openly said that they were outsiders and strangers on earth. People who say things like that show that they are looking for a country of their own. What if they had been thinking of the country they had left? Then they could have returned to it. Instead, they longed for a better country. They wanted one in heaven. So God is pleased when they call him their God. In fact, he has prepared a city for them.
Good morning, church.
Good morning.
So, do you all know about the biblical times when soldiers would wear heavy armor? Well, not everyone wears armor these times. But what we Christians do, we wear the armor of God. David wore the armor of God when he was fighting Goliath. He had the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the sandals of peace, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, the sword of spirit, and the final piece, prayer, which kept all the armor pieces together. So there's a story. There was a little girl named Millie. She had a big brother and a little brother named John. Her big brother was named Billy. So when Millie used to travel a lot with his little brother and his mom, because his big brother Billy was in college, he was going through some tough times, and so was Millie. So Millie kept traveling, going to new schools. She was always a new kid, so she felt alone a lot. Every single time she went to school, she kept getting bullied. They kept laughing at her, calling her names, just doing all of these terrible stuff to her. But one day, when she went to the school in Colorado, she met this guy named Jonathan. So when she met Jonathan, she was really conspicuous, because she was wondering if this was a prank, because no one has ever really talked to her like that. She was always thinking how Jonathan was tricking her to becoming friends and everything. So one day she was just in her room, and then the doorbell rang, and her mom answered it, and Jonathan was there. So then basically, Jonathan asked Millie to go to church with him, to see if she can feel better about her loneliness. So when they went to church, they were sitting there listening with Jonathan's parents and her own parents. Millie heard something really interesting about the armor of God, of how you should keep him close to you and wear it every single day of your life. When you wake up, when you go to school, when you go to church, at any time. So when she learned about it, she decided to read the verse herself. Can you guys please go to Ephesians 6, 10 through 18? Say amen when you're there. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principles, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of gospel of peace. above all taking the shield of faith, which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and to take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplications in the Spirit, being watchful to this, with all perseverance and supplications for all of the saints. So when Millie read that verse, she decided to take that into her own life. She went to school. When people started to bully her, she ignored. She decided to wield the shield and block all the bad stuff from her, the temptations, all the words that they called her. So when she was in a classroom, she was getting hit in the head, just calling her like a nerd and everything. But then she had the helmet of salvation, which protects the mind of her, knowing that God's always with her. Amen. She was walking through the hall, and then someone tripped her, but she had the sandals of peace, which just kept her going. So then she continued the whole day, and then one day she ran into Johnny, and they went outside to play and had fun, and then she finally figured out that she actually found a friend that actually cared about her. So when you have the armor of God, you should always walk through the fire and then always look straight ahead, looking for God.